folding over when you're emptying out. Take your right foot back, and then left foot back, downward dog. Move your left foot to the front of the back of the mat, or the center of the back of the mat, sorry, and take your right leg high. Press into your hands once again. Time here to feel everything reaching away from everything else. Reach your toes long. Press into your whole hand. Lift your leg as high as you can to get a stretch in your hamstring. And then allow your right hip to stack on top of your left hip. Keep reaching your feet far away from your hands or your foot. And now bend your upper leg so your knee is the thing that's reaching far away from your hands. Feel the opening in front of your hip. You can stay here or flip over. Take a few breaths in either of those positions. Opening everything up. And circle your arms around in both directions. Feeling how it stretches your front and your back, depending on where your arm is. So from here, we're going to go to Pigeon Pose. If you're just in with your leg lifted, you'll just go from there. You're going to come around wherever you are. Left foot, you're pivoting on your left foot, and your right shin comes forward for pigeon. So we'll be here for a nice long hold. I always like to start by lifting up, feeling the stretch in the front of the left hip before enjoying the stretch in the outer right hip. So allow your left leg to be heavy, hips grounding toward the floor, and then your rib cage floats up, crown of your head up, shoulder blades floating, pressing down again. Enjoying the stretch here, strong arms helping create the back bend. You can take your jaw high for a stretch across your throat. Take advantage of the opportunity to really fill up your chest and stretch the front muscles. At some point when you're exhaling, again with strong arms slowly lowering you down. You'll come to a point where your right hip says, okay, that's enough, and then you find something to rest your head on. Whatever height above the floor your head wants to be, find something to prop it. If you're within hands to the floor, you use stacked fists or palms, or maybe your head rests on the floor itself. We're going to be here for a longer hold, so it's really important to get yourself in a position where you can relax your breath, relax your face, not feel like this is too intense. And once you find that position, maybe it's even on your back doing the number 4 hip opener, just settle in, become resigned to the stillness, become curious about what's happening in your body. Experiment with your breathing. See if a long, slow exhalation through your nose can change something about your experience. Feel your left leg also getting really heavy on the floor, relaxed. Arms letting go. Notice what is happening between your ears. If you find yourself wanting to come out, if it's because of a physical thing, please adjust or come out. If it's a mental thing, see if a few more breaths you can just hang in there. And let that sense of agitation pass. At this point, if you've settled into a nice place and you want to stay, please do. If you're ready to move on, you'll move your hands back toward your knee and your foot, pressing into your hands to breathe your way up. Front opening again. And now we're going to go back to three-legged dog, letting your right leg straighten out, which will probably feel nice. Pressing your foot high. Moving your foot around, leg around, any way that feels nice. And then let your right foot come down, right next to your left foot. Take your left leg high. And feel the opening in your right hamstring. Press into your whole hand on both hands. Move your foot around if you want to. And then at some point, open your hip, stacking your left on top of right. Keep reaching your foot far away from your hands. And then bend your leg so your knee reaches far away from your hands. And you stay here and play with three-legged dog or flip it over. Opening up. If your left hand is not on the floor, you can move your arm around. Both directions. Paying attention to the sensation on your front and your back. And as your left hand comes around and grounds again, if it was lifted, you're going to bring your left foot around for pigeon pose on this side. So make any accommodations you need for the difference between your left side and your right side. And open the right front hip, pressing your arms into the floor, right leg heavy. Again, you can take your jaw high. Notice what happens when you take a huge breath in. At some point when your lungs are super full, as you're emptying them, you can lower down. Again, now you know how long we're going to be here, so really make the effort to find a good place to be. Maybe you stack something under your left hip, maybe you roll onto your back, find something for your head, settle in. If you can feel your right leg and your arms heavy on the floor earlier this time, that's great. Maybe you're letting the word surrender work its way around your head. Surrendering to gravity. Making adjustments in your physical body as well as your mental state so that you get as much benefit from this pose as you can. Can you feel the calming hormones moving around your body? At some point, bring your hands to your knee and your foot and breathe your way up. Feel the opening in the right front. And then we'll liberate the left knee, taking it up to three-legged dog, straight leg. Doing whatever feels good on that leg. And then letting your left foot come to meet the right on the mat. You can move into the regular spot for your downward dog. We'll take a few breaths here. Straightening your legs, pressing your heels to the floor. Shake your head out. And then let your knees come to the edge of the mat, feet flat. We'll take a wide knee child's pose. Walking your fingertips forward and then pulling with your hips back so you create as much length as you can in your spine. And then let that go, let your forearms rest on the floor, let your hips just settle back. Move your arms to whatever place feels like a nice situation for your neck. Your shoulders coming into your neck. I was thinking that wide knee child's pose is probably a great position to be in for breathing. I've been reading about positional therapies for patients with COVID-19, and they try to lay them on their bellies. But this way, not only are you prone, but your belly is free to move. So this is a great way for your entire torso to be free, your rib cage free. So take in as much air as you can. Slowly let it out. Once again, hopefully your forehead is resting on the floor, if not, on your hands or on a block or something. Find a way to be so that you can release here. Tapping into the mental benefits. Feel your lungs expanding in all directions. And again, if this is feeling super in you, then stay. If you're ready to move on, you can join me. I'm going to now do a pose that I never do because it's really uncomfortable in my body, but I'm going to do my best. It's a good thing to do in the longer holds. It's frog pose. So this was kind of a warm-up to it. Your legs are kind of going to stay wide like this. You can pivot around to the side of your mat. Keep your knees wide. If you can, you're putting your feet so that your inner ankle is down toward the floor on both sides, and moving your knees as far away from each other as is quote-unquote comfortable for you. And then you can either just stay like this, or you start to let your hips move back a little bit behind the line that connects your knees. And for me, this is super intense. I'm going to come down onto my forearms. You can stay up on your arms. So once again, find a position to be in where you feel a stretch, but you also feel like it's possible for your muscles to actually relax a little bit. That's where you're going to get the benefit. You can get a little stretch in the back of your neck now, letting your head release down, shoulder blades moving down toward your waist again. So your shoulders move in one direction, ears in the other. You can be allowing your hips to slide forward a little bit as you inhale maybe, and as you exhale slowly through your nose, go to the stretch. Move back and forth like that. Or you can stay in stillness in your hips and move your head around, ear toward one shoulder and the other. Maybe distracting yourself a little bit from what's going on in your hips. If your head is going in one direction, make sure the opposite shoulder is pulling the opposite way for the big stretch. If you're doing your neck at the same time, try to be aware of any tension you might be creating in the hip area. Let it soften. If things do start to loosen up a little bit, you might want to move your knees a little bit away, further away from each other. Find a new edge. Once again, use the physical practice to enhance your mental state. Calm, dissipation of tension in your muscles can signal to your body that you are calm and safe, which can signal your brain to release those calming hormones. So a few more moments here. See what your last few breaths here can really accomplish. If you're down on your forearms, come up onto your arms. Now, put a lot of weight into your hand so your knees can come together. Now we're going to do a child's pose with our knees together, which is going to feel good after that. So put your knees right next to each other. You can have your arms out in front if you like, but I like to put my hands back by my feet, allowing shoulder blades to drop away from each other. Again, rest your forehead on something if it's not on the floor. So this is very different from the wide knee child's pose. Now it's very difficult to breathe into your chest, but it's a great opportunity to take a lot more breath into your back, which we don't normally do. So it forces you to breathe differently. Let yourself settle in here. As your hips feel heavier, you might feel a nice stretch in your low back. As your arms get heavy, you'll feel a nice stretch across your upper back. Use your breath to enhance both of those things. Stretching more as you breathe in, releasing more as you breathe out. Bring your hands out in front at some point, and then come up onto your hands and knees. Tuck your toes, back to downward dog, and then just walk your feet up to the front and have a seat. So now we are going to lie down and take Shavasana. Again, you can prop yourself up in ways that are going to make it easier for you to relax. So you can put your feet up on something, you can cover yourself with something, have something over your eyes, an eye pillow or a little towel. So get yourself comfortable. Lie back. So hopefully a lot of the work that we normally have to start doing in Shavasana with calming the mental state is already done, and you'll be able to just drop right in. Feel your legs and your arms and your head releasing onto whatever's underneath them. Feel your eyeballs and your tongue relaxing back toward the floor, toward the center of the earth. Feel the muscles of your forehead and your cheeks relaxing. Jaw softening. Again, paying attention to the space between your ears. What's going on there? More oxygen in, triggering the rising of your chest. You need to dispense with the waste products of respiration, triggering the dropping of your chest. Maybe as your chest lifts, you feel a sensation of your whole body lifting with lightness. And as your chest empties, your whole body sinking down with heavy relaxation. We did longer holds today in the stretching poses, so if you have the time, I highly recommend you stay as long as you possibly can in this final relaxation. And when you are ready to move, you can start with your extremities, fingers and the toes and the eyeballs, the tongue, jaw. Let that movement ripple toward the center. Stretch yourself all out. And then pull in before you roll to your side. Sitting up, breathing in as you do so. Again, just noticing